What's going on, guys? FPL Hotline here. Figured we'd make a little reaction video to a famous FPL players squad. But first, I want to introduce a special guest today. Taz couldn't be here, so we got the champion of our private FPL league, Sid. What's going on, Sid?
Hey, what's up, everyone? Really happy to be here today, and I brought a little gift with me.
Who are you giving it to?
It wasn't a gift.
Yeah. You said it's a gift.
a little podcast item.
C4, how does it feel to see the trophy that slipped through your hands in the final 11 minutes of the season? Something like that?
No comment.
All right, so thanks, Sid, for coming on, bro. Let's do a quick little reaction here. So if you don't know Magnus Carlsen, he is a Norwegian chess grandmaster, whatever that means.
Before you just
yeah, I guess he's pretty good at chess, and he's pretty good at FPL too. Top 10 last season. So yeah, at goalkeeper, he has Ramsdale. Gash, how you feel about that?
I don't like Ramsdale too much. I think Sheffield's team was a lot stronger last season with Henderson as a starting keeper, and that's hopefully not my Man United bias showing. But from what I saw of Ramsdale at Bournemouth, I don't think he's as good of a shot stopper as Henderson is, so I think he's going to let in more goals, and I think Sheffield's clean sheets are going to go down from last season, so their defensive assets won't be as valuable.
C4?
Yeah, like looking at Ramsdale, not even getting into the overall stats of his performance last year, but at 5.0, it doesn't really make sense to me when you're looking at what everyone believes to be the template for success this year with more premiums up top and in midfield. I don't like it, but he finished top 10 last year for a reason. So like this might make me reconsider, but I don't think so. Especially when you look at when he unveiled his game week 1 team, he said he probably would switch Ramsdale to McCarthy before the deadline.
Which would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, just saving that extra 0.5, you could easily use that towards, I don't know, if you're upgrading to someone else in midfield once United and City start playing. Makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, for sure. Sid, what do you think?
Yeah, I don't see why he's wasting the extra 0.5 on Bournemouth defense that is never typically that good, especially losing Ake for this upcoming season. I'd go with here.
Ramsdale's on Sheffield.
You moved to Sheffield?
Yeah.
When? And ladies and gentlemen, this is the guy we lost last season.
How the fuck did he win a trophy?
Somehow he's holding that trophy.
Wait, when did he move to Sheffield? I was like, oh, that was such a good point.
A couple weeks ago.
Did you miss the part where he got relegated last year?
I have one other thing. I like how Magnus is are we going to the bench now, or are we going to save the bench for last, or what?
You're trying to reel us back
if it's back to goalkeeping, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, so his backup keeper is Button, which I really like because Button was actually a really high selected keeper last year because he was a 4.0. So I think he's doing that almost out of nostalgia instead of picking a different 4.0. So I think that's a funny part of his team too.
Yeah. Moving on to midfield. Defense. We got KWP, Trent, and Robertson starting. Pretty good. He's got the Liverpool double that me, Gash, and C4 have. How do you guys feel about that? So obviously we feel good about the Liverpool double. We all have it. But how do we feel about KWP there?
I actually think that KWP is definitely downgraded after moving to Brighton this upcoming season.
All right.
Okay, realistically talking, I think, like personally, I like it because the starting 3 are the same. But if you look at his bench, he has Brent Waite and Johnson, which 2 4.0s. So to me, it looks like he's almost setting and forgetting those 3 defenders for the first 8 game weeks.
So I would just like to say that KWP, Trent, and Robbo is the exact starting 3 that I have in my game week 1 team. So I think Magnus is actually bang on the money here. I think he's a genius in his defense alone, and I would highly recommend this defense to everyone playing FPL.
Yeah, see, I feel good about Trent and Robertson, but I don't feel too good about KWP.
Oh, KWP.
I think it's a solid 4.5 pick. my question to you guys is, how do you feel about his two bench defenders? Like, to me, those are two that have really, like, they don't have a good shot of starting, kind of like Mitchell and Ferguson for CP. Johnson can start for West Ham, but
I think Johnson's might start actually.
Wait, is Johnson?
I have Johnson in my team, but I feel like Johnson and Branwaith on Everton. Like, I feel like Johnson's a better pick, but I feel like those two together, without like one of the 4.0 Crystal Palace defenders, are kind of risky picks.
So Branthwaite is basically, if someone gets hurt in the Everton backline, which I thought I saw some news about an injury in the Everton backline, like a Holgate maybe, but I could be wrong on that. So he's kind of, he'd be good if there was
was injured all the fucking time last year.
He'd be good, yeah, right. He'd be good if there's a long-term injury to an Everton defender. Yeah. And Johnson, I thought, had a shot to start. I think he's been starting a decent number of preseason games for West Ham when they've been playing their first 11. So,
and I've heard that he could play right back and left back, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to midfield.
I heard that too.
Good for you.
Moving on to midfield, we got Aubameyang, Salah, Son, and Ziyech starting, and he's got Salah as captain. Interesting choice. And he also made note that Ziyech is just a placeholder, and he plans to upgrade Auba to either Sterling or KDB game week 3. So that's a pretty common strategy that we've heard. A lot of people waiting until after that Wolves fixture and bringing in their City assets game week 3. Salah over Auba at captain. I know all of us were in between the two of them, but we all went with Auba. Magnus is going with Salah. Does that make you guys reconsider at all? C4?
I would say today I started reconsidering. It's just the first thing that made me start reconsidering was when I saw the clean sheet odds for this weekend. I think it was Fulham had a 16% chance of keeping a clean sheet, and Leeds was only at 9%. Although those are both very small numbers, it's what, a 6% difference. Arsenal has a really good record against Fulham in that last season that they were up in the Premier League. I don't know if that's enough to make me switch, but you start seeing all these different experts or high game week or high overall finishers saying, oh yeah, Salah over Aubameyang. I mean, it makes me wonder, okay, am I screwing up here? Or is this a repeat of last year when everyone was like, oh yeah, captain Salah, and then Sterling is the one with the hat trick?
Yeah, I mean, I captained Sterling game week 1 last season, so y'all should probably listen to me on this.
Did you actually?
Yeah, I did.
So who are you captaining this week?
I'm going with Aubameyang.
Okay.
For sure. I think the Aubameyang extension is confirmed, 3 years. So the official Arsenal announcement will probably come tomorrow, and then the game right after. I just think he's going to ride that wave of emotion into a hat trick. Plain and simple.
Can I ask are you still going to captain him if they don't announce it tomorrow?
I said that I wouldn't. I think in the last episode, but the more I think about it, dude, the better I feel about Aubameyang. He scored a banger that I just saw on Twitter in the behind closed doors match this week. He scored another one before that. He scored in the Community Shield. He scored in the FA Cup. He's just on fire right now, and I don't really see it stopping. So yeah, I'm going with Auba no matter what.
Would you guys agree or disagree that with the shortened preseason, that the restart from last game or from last season and this very shortened preseason in terms of keeping form is more important when it comes to making early season decisions? Because I would argue that Aubameyang had a better last, whatever it was, 18 weeks of the season last year. He's had a pretty good preseason when Salah hasn't honestly looked that good. And now Aubameyang's riding better form into game week 1.
I personally tend to, disregard preseason a lot. And I think a lot of players, turn it on once they realize that it's really, you're actually playing for something. So I wouldn't say I necessarily disregard the end of last season for that reason, but I think I do because, once you have a few weeks off, form kind of, typically players will keep their form if they have a week or two off, but they're playing international football and, they're playing for their countries. But I think a lot of times when you see players with a couple weeks off and it's just, vacation time or they're not actually playing, it's a big reason why their form might change right when they come back. So I'm looking at it a little bit. I'm probably giving it more weight than the rest of the season last year, but still, pretty much taking the results with a grain of salt.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Sid, what are you doing?
I'm definitely going Salah, but pretty.
How
It
do you
was
feel about
pretty
that
close.
the whole preseason versus restart?
No, but I saw this statistic yesterday that Salah scored in each of the last 3 seasons first opening game week,
Yeah, here I actually have the stats for that beside me. It was
and it's
So
the home
going-
game for Liverpool.
going back to Serie A in 16-17. Salah's at least had 1 return in each game, and for 3 out of 4 of the first game weeks, he's had a goal and assist. When you compare that to Aubameyang in his first game week of the last 4 seasons, so in 19-20 it was a goal, 18-19 he blanked, 17-18 it was a goal, and the year previous, when the last 2 seasons were in Germany, the year previous he had 2 goals in his first fixture.
Dude, the way you were announcing those years, like you said, like
Yeah, I was like, whoa.
1600s.
He must have been.
I was like, scoring on the opening game week for that long.
He did it the Canadian format, not the American one, right?
Yeah. But also interesting to note that against Fulham in, I guess it was 2018, 2019, Aubameyang had 2 goals and 1 assist in his first match against them, and 1 goal in the second match against them.
Yeah. I mean, one thing I want to say about the whole preseason debate, like how much weight do you put into preseason? You know, if a player does well, then preseason matters, and it's a great show that he'll be a great player that season. And if he doesn't do well, like fuck it, it's just preseason. So you can go either way with that narrative. I feel like
knowing Aubameyang, are we not all prepared for him to blank game week 1 and go off game week 2?
No, he'll go off in game week 3 once everyone really transfers him out first.
You're right. That's true. That's the Arsenal way.
I'm so confident he's gonna blank game week 1 because you triple captain him. Like I
can still switch my triple captain.
All right.
Don't you have to do it week 1 for the bet?
No, I have to, but I didn't say who. Like, I can still switch who it is. Okay, so Sid, here I'm giving you the option. Out of Aubameyang and Salah, you can choose who I triple captain.
Go Aubameyang, because I'm gonna
okay. Triple captain Aubameyang game week 1 decided.
Oh wait, can I pick someone else?
No, you can only pick out of those 2.
Let's move on to the forwards here.
I mean, we didn't really talk about the rest of the midfield, right? I think it's pretty interesting seeing his thinking there.
Alba, Salah, Son, and Ziyech.
He's definitely Ziyech.
Yeah, well, he said Ziyech is a placeholder, and he's injured now, so he's gonna help take him out. I think the most interesting part of that to me is Son. I'm not too keen on Son after like the restart the last 10 games of last season. With Mourinho's system really came into play, and with Harry Kane and everything, Son was playing almost like a Rashford role, like pretty far out wide and not too central and in goal scoring position. So I think Son for me is much more of an asset to look at if Kane is out injured, more than a couple of weeks. But with him and Kane on the field, I think Kane's always going to be the main man, and Son's going to be almost hugging the touchline a lot of times. So he might get some assists, but not necessarily in goal scoring position.
Mm-hmm.
So I personally find his midfield picks more intriguing for a different reason. Is when he talks about taking Alba out in game week 3, he's looking at KDB or Sterling. And based on the first couple of episodes we recorded, some of us have been receptive to Sterling over KDB. Others haven't. I think it's pretty interesting and kind of vindicating for me that he's also considering him over KDB.
All right, moving on to the forwards.
Yep.
All right. So let's see. Magnus's forwards are Adams, Antonio, and Mitrovic. He plans on moving Antonio to either Wood or Maupay in game week 2 or 3. But for right now, he's starting Adams, Antonio, and Mitrovic. I don't have any of those on my team. Gash, you have Adams, right?
I have Adams and Mitrovic.
All right, let's talk about him.
So I will say that, again, Magnus and I, we're both likely going for the Southampton triple up. So, again, I promise you I didn't see his team before I made mine, and I think it's just great minds thinking alike. No, I think Adams is a really solid player for, the price he's at. He's what's that?
What did you go like in fourth in our league or something, man?
Yeah. But Ramsdale's on Sheffield, I think. Or is Ramsdale on Bournemouth still? 'Cause I couldn't hold it.
Brighton.
Yeah, all right. Well, the viewers can't really hear you because you're not speaking out loud. But so we'll just move on. Adams is a pretty
What do you mean?
solid pick.
I'm in the show and everyone can see and hear you.
Adams is a pretty good pick
Okay.
because the way he's playing at Southampton's team at the end of last season, he seems like Ings' partner up top. So it's really just a cheap way into that attack for a player who got a decent number of chances. And then Mitrovic is typically with the way Fulham have been playing the last season or two, if they get a goal, it's most likely coming through Mitrovic. And I think actually statistically last season he'd have handled like 50% of their goals or something like that. He's a set penalty taker as well. The one thing I'm worried about is he's been known to have an attitude problem. So it's him picking up too many yellow cards and stupid fouls and losing points that he really doesn't have to in FPL.
Is he someone you're ready to rely on the whole year, or is this just
I'm they have good fixtures at the start, so I'm kind of running with him. I could easily see myself switching to maybe a Colin Wilson once he starts hitting form, hopefully with Newcastle after the first couple of weeks.
That might take a while for him actually. So.
Yeah, right. So and then there was I'm blanking on the name, but there was a forward just added today for $6 million. It was the guy Crystal Palace bought. I forget who was added in, but I remember that he was. Oh, sorry, he's Batshuayi from Chelsea. He's on Palace. Okay. He's on Palace. He's at Palace with a loan with an option to buy. So I think last time he was at Palace, he performed pretty well. And I don't think he's going to start the first couple of game weeks, but I think once he works himself in, I could see myself switching over to him.
Dude, he might play a big role for them because they've had Zaha playing out of position, kind of just covering that spot. So I mean, they'll obviously want to slide Zaha back to his natural spot, and I could see him playing a big role.
You also could partner Zaha up top. I could see that too.
Yeah, that could work. Sid, do you have any strikers the same as Magnus? Any forwards?
Yeah, I got Mitrovic. I like Magnus Carlsen'S taken 3 big risks with those 3. It's like I would pick one out of those 3.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Antonio's got hard fixtures at the beginning. Mitrovic is like, I mean, he's so cheap, so he's like that's why everyone's looking to him. But I don't think he's gonna do too well because Fulham, the way they got
2 years older than last time he was up in the Prem. Everybody's kind of basing it off that, but that's a while ago.
I guess, but I don't know the way that Fulham got into the Prem was through that tournament, and we'll see how he does. And Adams is also another kind of risk because Ings is their first striker, so
right.
It's just 3.
Yeah, he definitely went cheap up top. He went with that really strong midfield to try to make up for it.
1 premium up there, but we'll see.
I would do the same. I would try to, if I were him, I would try to find a premium up top. C4, do you have any same forwards with him?
Surprisingly, though, I'm kind of agreeing with Sid here. To me, his forward picks are they're risky enough that they almost seem like differential picks.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so looking at them one by one.
Mitrovic, so maybe not as much.
So Che Adams, personally, I think we would all have him in our team if we knew he was guaranteed to play 75, 80 minutes a match. That's my take on it.
I don't know. No.
You don't think?
I don't like the idea of relying on a secondary striker. We know Ings bags him in almost every match. How much can you really expect a number 2 to do?
A lot.
Yeah,
he's doing pretty good.
So yeah,
he's in my team, so I hope so.
Is there a number 2 who's kills it in FPL?
Giroud.
I mean, how many teams in the Premier League really play with the 2-striker system still?
It's really. I mean, it was Bournemouth last year with Colin Wilson, Josh King is one I could think of.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. I don't know.
No, not too many others. It's really just main striker.
Yeah. So overall, what would you rate his team on a scale of 1 to 10? Sid?
I give
Sid?
I give a 6 out of 10. His midfield's good. His midfield's perfect.
I'll give him a 5 out of 11 because that's how many players of the same we have.
All right. C4?
Eyeballing it, okay, we're probably all going to look like idiots when he gets 110 points the first game week, but I only like his defense. I have problems with his midfield goalkeeping and forwards, So on that basis, like I'm giving him 25%.
Yeah. I'm probably going like a 5.5 out of 10. Honestly, those forwards scare me. I don't feel
He's
too good
gonna
about
be in the
Son.
top 10 after the first game week. We're all gonna be like 10 out of 10.
Dude, last season I was top 2,000 after the first game week. So
Mm-hmm.
that's
Your
pretty
problem
cool.
was the other 37.
You see,
No, I stayed up there for like the first 5 game weeks.
do you see what his Twitter handle is? Like his bio?
Oh, what's it say?
It's like chess champion, and it's like former first place holder in like fantasy Premier League because he was like first for like a week or something. So it's
I
like,
thought it was longer. I thought he had the spot for a few weeks.
oh,
I think it was switching back and forth.
And then Magnum Don Carlsen overtook him for a little bit.
what did he end at? Like
10th.
Top 10.
oh, he was
10?
10. Oh.
Exactly.
He was 11th, and then when first place got kicked out, he finished 10th.
Oh, right. All right, guys. So that about wraps up this episode. Thanks, Sid, for coming on, bro. Appreciate it.
No problem, guys.
And thanks, Gash and C4. And everybody, good luck this season. Follow our social media accounts. And if you haven't joined our league yet, make sure you do that. You got one more day. And good luck, everyone.